Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to share with you an eyeshadow look using the new Kat Von D Metal Matte palette. So I shared with you my thoughts yesterday, and unfortunately I did a makeup look and my camera decided not to work on me, it didn't work very well yesterday. So I only was able to give you my thoughts. Now on using that palette, I loved it. It worked really well, as I said yesterday. Now moving on to later yesterday evening, I did notice that the shade Synergy actually completely disappeared from my eyelid. Now I usually use my foundation as a primer. I do this all the time and I never usually have any problems with other products. But I did notice that Synergy completely disappeared. So what I'm going to do today is try that look again and see how I get on. Now I've already put on my eye the same as I did yesterday, which was Suede. So I put Suede in the crease and then and above obviously as a transitional shade, and then I added Oak to then deepen that up. So I'm just going to add a little bit more Oak, and I'm going out to the outer V with that, and then again on the other side. I really love this combination of shades. I think it is so perfect. So I'm just going to buff that out a little bit more. This is a daytime look, so I don't want it to be too overpowering. Now I'm just going to use Suede to go over the top of that. Obviously I'm using my Primark makeup brushes again, which I absolutely love. If you do get a chance to, or you have a Primark near you, I would certainly take a look at these because they are only £1. So that's the base laid down. So I've got Suede, let me have a look. So Suede as the transitional shade, and then I've got Oak that I've popped in the crease, which is exactly the shades that I used yesterday. Now I don't know if I'm going to use the same brown shade on the lid. I absolutely love that combination. Now usually if I use a brown transitional shade, I don't then usually use a brown shimmer shade, but I did see it on another tutorial and I really loved the look of that. I've not really thought of that before because usually I will put, you know, brown in the crease and then I'll put a lighter shade on the lid, but I really loved how that tutorial looked. And yeah, I was really impressed with that. So I tried that yesterday and I really loved Synergy because although it looks brown in the pan, it came off quite coppery and I loved that. So I'm just going to do the same as I did yesterday and put Suede on the lower lash line or underneath the lashes, and then add Oak on the top. And I found that Suede was a little bit too light, you know, as a colour on its own, but it gave a good base. So I'm just going to go in with Oak. And then connect that. I don't want it to be too dark because this is a daytime look. But obviously I want some definition there. So that is perfect. I am going to buff that out because I think that it is just a little bit too harsh there. Now they buff out really, really well, these shades, and I absolutely love this palette. So there we have the base. So to be honest, now I can use absolutely anything, any colour on the lid that I want, because we have a neutral brown base. So I think I'm going to go in with, let me have a look. I think I'm going to go in with Glitz, which is this one here. I'm going to try a lighter shade. Now, yesterday I used that one, gorgeous. So I'm going to try Glitz today, which is a gorgeous baby pink shade. Again, it's very, very buttery. I think actually what I'm going to do, because that is very, very light, you'll see on the swatch that is very light. I think I'm going to go in with Volt, which is this purple one here. So I'm going to use Volt. And then I may put Glitz on the inside, but I really like the idea of Volt, because that is gorgeous. That's a really gorgeous purple. So I'm going to try that today. I really like that. So again, I'm using my finger, and the reason is because I find that it works really well. If I put a brush on, I'll use a brush to put this on, sorry, then I find that it's not, it tends to not really go on very well. It's quite patchy. So I'll just do the other eye. So there we have. Now, Volt is not as shimmery as Synergy was yesterday. Yes, it's given me that purple look, but it's not as shimmery. So I'm going to take Glitz. So that's Glitz. So obviously that was Volt, that one is Glitz. So I'm just going to put that on the in the middle, just to lighten that up a little bit. In fact, I'm going to take it all over the eye and lighten up that purple. That is really pretty. Yeah, I love that. So basically I've put Volt on first, and then I've popped on Glitz, and that has given me the purple look that I wanted, and then I've lightened it up with a lighter shade. So that is gorgeous. Now I'm just going to add my mascara. So I'm really pleased with that. Again, I'm using the Sleek Full Fat Mascara, and the reason I like that is because the brush, also this is not waterproof, and I usually have to use a waterproof mascara because I find that it goes all the way under there. I do have quite oily skin, although at the moment I am suffering with dry skin because of the cold weather that we're having, but this has not gone under my eye at all. I never put mascara on the bottom lash because of that issue. I've never found a mascara, even waterproof mascaras I find also leave a residue underneath, but this so far has become my favourite mascara. Ever since I've started using it, I've not stopped because it is amazing, and I love the wand. It captures every lash. So I'll just pop it on the other eye. So yeah, I really love that. Now, I think, although first looking at this is a very bright palette, and you may think to yourself, you know, I'm not going to make a muted eye look out of that. I think, you know, for the last couple of days, yes, I used Synergy yesterday, and I think that's probably my favourite combination. I did want to try something a little bit different today using the purple. Obviously, I don't want to stick to the same thing every time, but I've still made two, you know, daytime eyeshadow looks out of that palette. So if you are concerned and you were interested in that palette, and perhaps you were a little bit concerned that the shades in there are a little bit too bright for you or too deep, you know, this eyeshadow look I'm really pleased with, because I've put down that neutral base and then I've added, you know, a shimmery look. I really like that. It is so pretty. Yes, it's muted because obviously it's a daytime look, but I'm really, really impressed with that, and I just hope that it lasts until I take it off rather than disappearing throughout the day like Synergy did. Perhaps I may have to, if it happens again today, I may have to think about putting that the shimmery shades on with perhaps Fix Plus, something like that. But so far I really, really love this combination. It's really pretty, very feminine, and you know, not over the top, but just very, very nice, I think, as a daytime look. So I hoped that it hopefully inspired you, if you've got this palette, perhaps to try that combination out, or if you wanted to purchase this palette and you're concerned, I hope that helps you to realise that yes, you can make daytime looks out of this palette. But I really love that palette, and I've used it yesterday and today, and I think it's going to be a firm favourite. So whatever the reason for you liking that palette, or for whatever reason, I hope that helped, and thumbs up of course, and subscribe if you'd like to watch further videos. Thank you very much. Bye.